Yeah, thank you very much. There was, and you can't talk about education without recognising Baroness May Blood, of course, just here as much as anywhere else. I just wanted to ask about the committee report from the Northern Ireland Assembly from November 2021 on the bill, and two things in particular. Note 18, where officials from the department, talked about concerns that the bill may elevate integrated education sector above others, limiting parental preference, and what your view is of that as a response. And the other question I had was about, and I see later in the report, a note about diversity actually already within the other school sector, I think the controlled school sector. I've spoken to teachers who acknowledge that there is diversity there. I just want to get your perspective on that as well. I'm not trying to advocate a response that the department has given back to you, of course, but I just, I'm aware that there is some diversity. How much is there? And just one other thing, in your own note you talked about the private members bill brought by Chris Little to remove the exemption of teachers from the fair employment legislation. I just don't understand the specific impact of that. If you could just explain that to me.
Okay, sorry, do you want to come in there or do you want me to come in?
Well, I don't mind either way. You go ahead, Tina, and I'll come in afterwards, or Paul if needs me.
Okay, I suppose what someone talks about is the Department of Education puts integrated education on a higher level of preference. The bottom line is that there is an education authority and there is another statutory body for Catholic schools. Integrated education do not have a statutory planning body. And one of the things, there's no strategy for integrated education. So what we would say is that it would just put integrated education on an equal footing with the other bodies, and to make up for a lot of lost time. And also as well, remember, one of the reasons why we want this bill through is actually to help meet parental demand. There is a lot of parental demand and children are not getting into integrated schools. If there isn't an integrated school in your area, you don't have that choice.
You don't need to convince me. I just wanted to get some response to the comments of the department.
And just to add, I know your time, we've got a brief amount of time, so just to add to the other part of the question, I think the official Department of Education figures show that in the Catholic maintained sector, 1% of pupils are from a Protestant background, and in the controlled sector, 7% of pupils are from a Catholic background. The education that goes on in all of those schools is largely superb. I'm quite sure most, and if not all, of the teachers and everybody involved are doing a fantastic amount of work and terrific work, not just in the educational, but in the other and spiritual development of the young people under their care as well. We certainly wouldn't criticise the quality or the commitment of teaching and teachers. But when you have a breakdown of, in one sector, 1% from a Protestant background, and in the other sector, 7% from a Catholic background, the fundamentals of supporting a reconciliation process where the Good Friday Agreement was agreed nearly a quarter of a century ago, and yet that systemic separation of children and young people from 5 years old is not addressed. You can do something, bringing them together out of school hours. You can do something with initiatives like shared education. But that, in some ways, is like throwing a bucket of water over a stone. It dries up and you wouldn't realise some of that contact had happened. What we want to do is see more systemic change where children and young people are in the same classroom being educated together. And that's not happening in other sectors at the minute in the way that we would want.